What is going on, everybody? And this is my what if video. So, if you haven't been on Twitter within the past 48 hours, then you missed some pretty good breaking news. So, reports are that Boston and Philly are in talks right now for a swap of trade picks, where Philly would get the number one pick, while Boston would go down to three and possibly take Josh Jackson. But knowing Danny Ainge, I don't see the trade going through, but who knows? Anything can happen. He's pulled off three good trades in the past. The KG, the trade for KG, the trade for Ray Allen that happened in the same offseason, and he managed to get Isaiah Thomas recently. So in this video, I'm gonna see what would happen if Boston ended up taking Josh Jackson. So instead of trading back down to three, which will be pointless, I just stayed at the one pick. I mean, I already had the number one pick anyway, so why not go for Josh Jackson? So that's exactly what we are going to do. And if they end up getting Josh Jackson, then they're going to have some decisions to make. And I think Jay Crowder's gonna have to go if they ended up getting Josh Jackson, because it would be an overabundance of small forwards. Plus, they're talking about getting Gordon Hayward in the offseason. So, like, seeing this, it's like Danny Ainge has his hands full now, because it's like, okay, if you take Jackson, what are you gonna do with everybody else? Plus, you're trying to get Gordon Hayward, and again, what are you trying to do? So, as you're seeing this right now, who knows what Danny Ainge is doing? But we are in free agency, and since talking about Gordon Hayward possibly going to the Boston Celtics, if I was him, I would go to the Celtics. Why not? Him and Brad Stevens got the Butler connection, where they made Cinderella runs in back-to-back years, and they lost to Duke, and I can't think of the other team that they lost to, but the one against Duke was very memorable because Gordon Hayward shot it from half court, and it almost went in, and it hit off the backboard, and it ended up front rimming it. So as you see in this roster, it's kind of what their roster is going to look like next year. But to kind of make it fun a little bit, I was like, okay, they're gonna get Jackson. Let's see what I can get for Crowder, and I see DeAndre Jordan pop up. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna just take that trade. Why not? It's DeAndre Jordan, great defensive player. He'll fit great with Isaiah Thomas. Then I'm like, okay, I got DeAndre Jordan. Let's see what I can get for Al Horford. He's a great all around center, but he can't really score like that. So I'm looking through the trades and everything, and I see Hassan Whiteside, and it kind of hit me out of nowhere. So I had to go back through to see if any more trades look good, and I mean it didn't. So I'm like, okay, I got Whiteside. Now that I got two very good young big men. I moved DeAndre Jordan to power forward because he's an inch shorter. But looking at this starting five, it's pretty good. So I simulate the second season through. As you see, KD won MVP. Markelle Fultz won Rookie of the Year. Derrick Rose won Sixth Man of the Year. I don't know who the starting point guard for the Knicks is now. Most improved is Giannis, and the Steve Clifford won Coach of the Year for the Warriors. He used to be the coach of the Hornets, and I don't know where Steve Kerr went. I don't want to take the time, but looking at this, see, Lonzo Ball went to the Knicks. Now, if that happened, I know Stephen A. Smith will be cheering tears of joy. Man, Lonzo Ball would be perfect for the Knicks, but knowing Phil Jackson, he wouldn't do it if Lonzo Ball was still right there anyway. So, looking at our record, we finished 59-23. Best for a second in the conference. We did end up winning our division. Not that anybody really cares about that. But going up against the Bulls in the first round, you see we 4-0 sweep them. Going up against the Wizards in the second round, we win 4-2. And then we run into that monster that is the Cleveland Cavaliers when they won 4-1. But then Houston goes on to beat them in the finals. I know that that'll probably never happen. And now I simulate the whole out season again. I could have traded. We ended up with the third pick. I could have made that trade. I didn't want to make the trade. Could have had like Draymond or Kevin Love or somebody else. I didn't really want to make that trade. Plus, I didn't look at who we really had at the time, like who was under our books. So, but now in the off season, I'm like, okay, Russell Westbrook. I offered him a contract, and he took it first day. I guess OKC they didn't build a roster around him. He wasn't really happy or anything. So he just went ahead and bounced. So instead of letting Isaiah Thomas walk, like a lot of people think that Boston is going to do for some odd reason, I don't know why Boston would let him walk, but the only reason I could see him walk is if maybe if he asked for the max, then they'll be like no, because then, but I don't see them doing that. If they take Jackson, I think Isaiah Thomas will end up staying. But again, I'm not Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge is known for not really getting the most for what he has right now. Because Danny Ainge has a lot of draft picks right now, which is really crazy that he hasn't used those picks to trade to really trade for a star. But going through this, I'm gonna see my rotation. I automatically did this. Got Isaiah. Since we re-signed Isaiah, moved Russ down to the 2. So the small forward spot, I was like, should I go with Hayward? Should I go with Jackson? So what I decided to do was I put Jackson at the 3. And I moved Gordon Hayward down to the 4. I know that's a really terrible idea, but with the NBA and how it is now with small ball and everything, it works. Cause now you have 4 shooters around, and you have Hassan Whiteside who could lock down the paint, but it would still cause mismatches on the floor. But looking at our bench, actually, it's not as bad as what I think. We did take Trayvon Duval. I forgot to mention that with the 3rd pick, but we ended up we got like Shump and McLemore. I was like, okay. So going into this last season, I think LeBron won MVP. Luka Doncic won Rookie of the Year. If you don't know who that is, he's possibly one of the best European players in next year's draft, and he's projected to go in the lottery. But going through this, see all NBA first team, all NBA second team, and looking at second team, I was like, wait. The Spurs have DeMarcus Cousins. Now, if DeMarcus Cousins decides to leave the Pelicans and go to the Spurs, now Pop, man, they would give the Warriors a run for their money, and they would possibly, I would say that they would win the championship if that was to actually happen in real life. I don't see that happening, but I mean, it's the NBA and anything can happen. I mean, nobody really expected KD to go to the Warriors, but I mean, we see how that happened, and we see the events that occurred right after it. So going into playoffs, we finished second in the conference again. I don't know how we keep finishing second. So looking at the stats, Russ averaged 20 points, Isaiah Thomas averaged 18, Hayward with 15, Whiteside with 14, and Josh Jackson finished with 11 points. So going up against the Bulls in the first round, I'm thinking we just going to clean sweep them, and we end up losing in the first round. Thank you, 2K. That's a beautiful logic. As you see, the Washington Wizards end up winning over the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know how, but like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch y'all next time.